Hi, I'm Alexis Nichols, staff writer for Under the Hard Hat. Today we're going to be talking to Carly Steiman. She's a Red Seal electrician, but she's also a producer, creative director, and entrepreneur, using her 18 years of experience to bridge the gap between the tools and the community. We're sitting down today to talk with Carly to discuss the power of storytelling, the gritty reality of the trades, and her mission to protect our community's most vulnerable through her new platform, Workbee. When I looked at the calendar, I loved how it featured real women doing like real gritty work. Like you've caught them in the middle of a project. Why was it important to move away from what we think of like polished marketing and show the actual day-to-day reality of the trades?
So when I wanted to do the photo shoot, my initial focus was the hands because hands of women are of humans are so multifaceted. And the story of I had a thumb injury, and a lot of my money comes from my hands, and there is a lot of risk and fear in injury, what that means for my livelihood. And it was right before the photo shoot, and I was like, oh, it'd be really cool to celebrate the hands of tradeswomen, because not only are they at home nurturing and holding space in home for love and like cleaning and loving, fixing, holding, but building and creating, and our hands do so much. So I just went to the recycling depot and I got all these tools and materials to have the hands close up hold. So we didn't actually go on site for it, but it was Melissa Martin, the photographer. Her and I both loved the lines and just like the scars of our hands, how they tell a story. And Melissa's like, well, why don't we put some charcoal on our hands and see how it looks? And that's why they like came out so pronounced. And some of the photos ended up a little bit more dark and more charcoaly than others, but they accentuated our stories. And I think that was a cool part about it, because it's not just, dainty and nice.
Yeah, it's very provocative. I mean, if you think of the statement, "You can't be what you can't see," how has the feedback from the calendar shifted from maybe just appreciation to recruitment for women who maybe didn't see the trades as a viable path?
It's been wild, like a huge talking point. After the exhibit, which was November 1st, I had a bunch of calendars to sell, and I signed up for a lot of the holiday markets, thinking that that would be a good sales place to sell calendars. It wasn't as much sales. It was actually a point of contact for people to meet a tradeswoman. And I had so many people come up and talk to me. I had so many people talking to me about their nephew or their niece or their kid that's, actually they just graduated from university, but they can't find a job and they're thinking about going to trades. Where should they go? And it became this, I became this beacon of inquiry for helping people get into the trades. And I realized the market out there, like community members don't know how to access the trades. They don't know. Like we have a lot of gateway opportunities through high schools and through colleges. I think that's a huge, awesome market. But I think what areas I tapped that I was like, oh, this is juicy, is mid-career community members that are engaged in art galleries, as well as craft markets and holiday markets. And it was so busy that I was like, oh my gosh, we need more resources talking to the public about how to actually enter the trades.
How do you think the calendar might act as a piece of community infrastructure, maybe for women who might feel isolated on the job sites that they're already occupying?
Well, since it's been a huge community builder point, I've had people buy the calendar for a female mechanic on the island. And then from there, she reached out. And then from there, I connected her with Women on Site, which has monthly meetups every Wednesday, the first Wednesday of every month. And I'm a huge conduit of capturing solo female tradeswomen out there to community. It just comes with great responsibility, And my experience as like I've been in the trades for 18 years, there's a lot of funded projects that are resources for tradeswomen, but they have a 2-3 year timeline on them. And so once they use up their funding, they kind of ghost. And that is a very difficult place as a tradesperson that is alone to have these resources that are just as far as like they're trying to see what works, and here's 2 years of funding to make it see if it works. And actually we need consistency, we need community building, and that's kind of long-term partnership.
I think only about 33% of women complete their full certification. So as a Red Seal electrician, what was for you the biggest hurdle that you faced in the final stretch, and how do you think we can help more dreamers become journey persons?
I think for me, my situation isn't the norm in the sense that supportive parents isn't
Yeah.
a common thing. My parents are super supportive of my exuberance and my dreams, and they know my exuberance is a lot, and they just say, "Okay, go for it." And then I find out how much work it is to actually have my dreams come true, and I'm like, "Oh my god, that was so much work." Like this whole exhibit and the calendar, I stopped my business for 6 months, and it's taken a financial hit, but the profit in building community awareness, storytelling, an original idea and an original concept across Canada. That for me, I'm like, oh, let's go. I want more. I want to do it more. But I think as far as retention for tradeswomen, what would help is community building. And mentorship's really great, but I think events, like what Women on Site's doing with actual get-togethers, that's really nice. I think mentorship is like I've been approached by 6 different organizations to be a mentor. None of them provide funding. So I'm like an anomaly. I'm like an entrepreneur doing 2 jobs, running 2 organizations, hustling my butt off, and I'm getting asked of my time to commit without any incentive. And I'd say the majority of trades women out there, they're not making ends meet. Like we're all working so hard that to ask us of our time when we're not even taking care of ourselves.
Yes.
Like self-care is what we should be to help tradeswomen stay in the trade, and what are tools to sustain and take us long term. Yeah, so it's convoluted.
How do you recharge to keep the passion for the craft alive?
I mean, I'm an extrovert, and I come from a long lineage of storytellers. And I'd say the biggest fuel in this last year has been spotlighting others' stories.
I love that answer. Have you seen a shift in how male coworkers have reacted to either the Tradeswoman exhibit or the calendar from a novelty perspective to part of site culture?
It's an opportunity for seeing who actually is an ally and is like, yes, we need these calendars on site. Let's get these calendars in our lunchroom. Let's get these calendars. Oh my gosh, how can we support you? Okay, you should get these in our high schools in our area. We'll sponsor our region. No problem. This is important. And then also, what this experience has taught me is there's a lot of people that say, like, oh, that's a great idea. And I think words matter, but actions are really the cause and effect that we need right now. So we need actionable initiatives. So like financial support to sponsor things, and that really backs up the words of affirmations. Because at this point, I'm realizing there's a lot of fluff, and it really shows. And I don't know. It's just interesting.
Yeah,
It's a petri dish.
I know. It really is. If there was a young woman maybe looking at your calendar tonight and thinking about picking up tools tomorrow morning, what's the first gritty truth that she needs to know to survive her first week on site?
Oh, to embrace mistakes. Mistakes are part of the learning process. And failure is actually something that we should seek and we should welcome and we should have grace experiencing, because that's part of the learning process. And I think there needs to be more gentle rhetoric about, messing up. At the end of the day, you're going to mess up and it's going to cost a little bit of money, but it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. And we don't want anyone getting injured. And I think the culture of like the learning experience through apprenticeships is through redoing something, through getting feedback of like, okay, this is how it can be better. Can you redo it? And not being like,
Yeah.
even though I'm like that still, like it's kind of
I
like,
think it's human. I think that's very human. I tell my son all the time, we don't learn from doing it right. So
Don't be afraid to
Yeah.
make mistakes.
Ugh.
What
Ongoing.
is on the apprenticeship side, what is one specific change that you want to see maybe in the apprenticeship system that would make the path easier for the next generation? Or should it be easier?
During the apprenticeship, I see a lot, I hear of a lot of apprentices that do focus on one specific aspect of the trade, and that's all they like have expertise in. And so when they go and get their license, all of a sudden they just know how to do like this one thing really, really well. And there's something very valuable of having the rotation experience. Like in nursing, you have a
Right.
requirement of doing every department in the hospital at least for 2 weeks, or whatever it is. And I think that as far as like every trade, that would be really helpful. I also think a big bottleneck I see is the trade sampler programs. There's a lot of opportunities to try new trades. Like BCIT has women in trades discovery program, fully
Mhm.
funded, and it's awesome. And I think having the industry leaders that are looking for employees to align with these sampler programs, and then to have federal support financially to onboard new apprentices, new green hires, because we all know it's going to take a lot of patience and time to get them up to speed. And I think having more of a streamlined path would be helpful. I think there's just a lot of fragmentation in the industry that's trying to, work in silos to build our workforce aspects of it. But I think what we really need is to build a road that connects everything, and we all are on the same page of like, okay, you've done this. Now you go to this resource, this hub, and this is where you can get jobs.
Because you've mentioned that you were constantly asked for recommendations for other trades. Was there a specific, was that the kind of the specific breaking point or story that made you realize that like a list of names wasn't enough and you needed a full platform?
I think for me as a troubleshooter, I constantly see problems. I constantly
Right.
see opportunities to work. When I worked on ambulance, doing transfers for a year, I was privileged to see where the bottlenecks are in our healthcare system. And for me, heritage and our ancestors are really important to respect in life. And I have a bubby, a grandmother that lives in Montreal. I have a dad that lives in Toronto, and I live in Vancouver. And I've been very aware of how much work it is to support my bubby to not be in long-term care. When I worked on ambulance and I saw that we had in Vancouver 5 to 7 people waiting for long-term care, and it takes on average 4 to 6 months to get into a bed outside of our hospital, I did quick math and I was like, oh, this is a big problem. This is a huge contributing factor to our wait times, to our stressors. And I have family in healthcare, and I'm just like, this isn't helping. So I've been doing residential service for 18 years, and I'm kind of like, I need to fix something about this.
Yeah.
I need to help this. So I started Workbee with the intention of it being a women in trades directory, but there's not enough women in trades, and
Yes.
there's fewer that are entrepreneurs. And so now it's just caring and competent individuals that are in the residential sector.
Mhm.
And I have like a 30-minute onboarding video where they learn my values and what areas that they need to be aligned if they want to come on board. And there's also like, trial, and you get rated, and there's a process.
I
There's
was
a
going to
process.
ask you how you vet the bees in the hive, and maybe what are some of the soft skills or values that someone has to have to be part of the network?
I think for me, well, for everybody, you have to be considerate. You have to like people. Like
Yeah.
when you're in the residential sector, you're working with the client, and the client is the homeowner, and you're in their home. You have the privilege of going into somebody's home, and so you have to uphold respect and etiquette. And the home service etiquette isn't something that we're born with. It's something that you have to learn from a mentor. And I think that's the area that for me, I'm like, oh, that's something I have. Like I can mentor people in home etiquette 101. So it's my responsibility. If I want people to be like me, I need to teach. And that's where I'm at. So
Yeah.
we're We launched in June, like our first 10 clients for homes to just see what makes sense. And then we're growing from there and help as many elders and adult children across Canada, because it's adult children also who are navigating this timeline of, they have their own homes, they have their own families. The average single dwelling home is 230 hours a year to maintain. And their parents are wanting to stay at home, and so you have all these resources that you need to keep them safe at home longer. And there's a lot of personal support care work, and there's a lot of nursing. But where I'm kind of like, well, what about the home maintenance? Like, we need to do preventative maintenance to keep them, not tripping, and to keep the home in good shape.
Good repair. And you're kind of launching it at an age or a time where AI and digital booking are becoming like the baseline for home services. So how would you say Workbee is using technology to make the experience seamless without losing that people first or people centric storytelling that really defines your brand?
Yeah, I think as far as the automation of having the a la carte problems that they can add, that's going to be automated and easier than finding the phone number to call. But there will be the personal aspect where I will be doing a lot of the follow-ups and the initial homes. We will be all working together to figure out what works and what doesn't work. I think for me as a community builder and for somebody that wants something to succeed, you have to work with the clients to get feedback. So for me, my ego's at the door and I want to figure out the problem. I want to hear about the problems. And I also am very welcoming that there's going to be problems for the first year of like, oh, let's, that can be better. Can we offer this? Last week, I thought of how, elders would like the option of having someone come and collect the garbage inside their home and bring it out every week. So we have an a la carte option to have weekly service of going in and collecting, and like each service technician that will be on will have, criminal record check. They'll have an home etiquette 101 onboarding. They have basic life support skills, because for me, getting my EMR license, what I've learned is it's very comparable to being an electrician. If there's a problem, you can help. And I think what I want to encourage anybody and everybody that wants to be in the Workbee community is like, we're all going to be developing our skills to be competent and helping someone if there's a situation that arises.
Yeah. Bridging the gap between the tools and the community. I like that very much. Is there anything I haven't asked you that you would want our readers to know?
I think what would be cool to share is I'm waiting to hear back about a grant to take the Tradeswoman Exhibit on tour across Canada.
Nice.
And it would be a really awesome green light to take across 8 cities to an art gallery of the host city and host tradeswomen together to celebrate, and also job hub opportunities for members of our community that, may be coming back to the workforce, curious about what to do, want to provide for their families, want to learn, work with their hands. And I see the Tradeswoman Exhibit and the calendar, but the Tradeswoman Exhibit to be a really cool activation that merges art, community, and opportunity. And I think my background, I worked on the federal election in 2015. I went on tour and did the lighting and sound. And so I have experience being on tour. And then also I worked in film for a very long time doing lighting. And so I think for me, if I can have my dreams come true, it would be using all of my expertise in different areas to provide opportunities for others, because that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. And it helps build kind of social, emotional, psychological infrastructure from the ground up. That's really good.
I have one more thing. So what messaging I really want to get out there to industry leaders that are looking to hire.
Yeah.
Don't hire one woman, hire a group. Go to these sampler programs, go to the schools, hire 5 women to onboard, pick one person that has kindness as well as intelligence to be their mentor in your company. And I bet you the performance measures that you will see are going to be good. I've heard too many women that get into the trades and they're the only one. And I'm kind of like, well, you know what? This is when we ask the employers, like, hey, can you hire a group? And also, can there be an incentive from federal to make that a possibility for them? It would help. It would help.
Yeah. Well, not only does it extend beyond tokenism, but it improves retention. Because I imagine, well, I mean, I'll ask you, in your opinion, like, what is the critical gap between hiring and placement and retention? Because we see a lot of women dropping out in record numbers.
Yeah, it's totally culture. If you feel alone and there's nobody that you feel safe to go and talk to, and your actions aren't following your words as far as your company values, you're gonna lose them. You're gonna lose them. And so, like, how do you put the things in place that you can actually succeed together? And that's like making a community within your company. Also, BCC WIT, they have not just a bystander course, and I think it's like a week long or a few days. I can't remember, but it's so good. It's like, it's talking about privilege, how to check your privilege, how to be inclusive, and, raising all of our emotional intelligence, because we can't just like, women naturally are a little bit more on the up as far as emotional regulation, for sure. Absolutely. And so I think we need to really help raise all team members up and giving them the opportunity to learn.
It's so funny. Women have a higher EQ, and yet it's over 40% of women in AEC feel that they're labeled as aggressive when they're being direct. So it's like, you can't win for losing, right? If you bring the soft skills, then you're too feminine. And if you're assertive, then you're aggressive. So, like, in the high stakes world of like electrical work and even the AEC, where safety is everything, how do you navigate the need for assertive leadership without worrying about like the labeling?
I think establishing respect is key. So you need to establish that you can work. You need to also establish that you understand the hierarchy, chain of command. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot of new employees that don't understand the chain of command. And I think when you go anywhere to work, 2 ears and one mouth for a reason needs to be in action. And so being able to listen and learn and be amenable and work well, that earns respect. And then when you have an opinion about something and you speak up, people want to listen because you are one of the members that contribute. I think for anybody coming right out of the gate and being like, oh no, I don't think we should do this or this, it's like, not the time and place. And
you haven't earned your stripes, right?
You got to earn your stripes. Yeah. And I went to VCC, Vancouver Community College, because I love talking about soft skills to apprentices, and talking about chirping culture is so interesting, because working 8 to 12-hour days with people, it's fun to poke fun at people you like, because it's like, it makes it humorous. And what a huge distinction is, in order to be able to be that person, you need to be kind first. You need to be respectful first. And what I see far too often is, if you come out of the gates being the funny person that's making fun, ha 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 ha, you won't be having a job for a lot longer, because all you're going to be known for is, oh, he or she thinks they're funny and poke fun all the time, but they don't actually work. And also they can't be real and drop in and actually be serious, like, hey, how are you? Have a proper check-in.
Yeah. It's like the very things you think would unite you kind of create a lens of distance. That's very interesting. I have a booby and a nanotube, by the way. And I saw all of these caregiving issues firsthand. So when I saw the Workbee stuff, it really struck close to home, right? Because one had the resources to afford assisted living and one didn't. So I saw two sides of that coin.
Oh my gosh. It's very sobering.
Yeah.
Seeing the timeline, like the options in that demographic. Right now I have a survey. So Workbee, the website, it's a survey. So I'm just collecting information about, what are people experiencing? what would people like? Because yeah, we haven't launched yet, and I'm very excited to do it. It's been
And
in
it's
research for like 2 years.
and the website goes live May 5th?
The website's live. But
Okay.
it's like but it's a survey, and so
Okay.
it'll be a subscription based service. So
Okay.
there's two tiers. There's one that has 4 visits a year, four inspections for each season, and we address any honeydew list that you have. And then the other one's 5 hours a month, and we have like just a curated menu
Hmm.
depending on the season and how to take care of a home, from cleaning your gutters to having a plumber open up for the spring,
I love
and
it.
just like have peace of mind so you don't have to worry about it.
I love it. It's been an absolute pleasure, Carly.
Yeah, you
Thank you
too,
so much.
Alexis.